at the Crucible.
On table one, what a night this is going to be for a brilliant young Chinese player making his World Grand Prix debut. He produced an excellent run to the quarters in Xi'an at the start of the season and then stormed into the semi-finals at the International Championship in November. Come on, Hong Kong, raise the roof for Zhu Se.
Palms are sweaty, knees unsteady, I can't see my head on straight. Heart is heavy, wasn't ready, don't think I can see your face. Now we're just friends, how long till that ends? It feels like forever away.
Come on, keep that applause going all the way through to his chair. And finally, to the most successful Asian player in snooker history. Earlier this season, he secured the 15th ranking title of his career at the International Championship. An iconic figure in Chinese sport. Enter the dragon, Junhui!
What a roar for Junhui, and how brilliantly has he carried that weight of expectation throughout his glittering career. Nearly 20 years ago, he became a ranking champion for the first time as a teenage wildcard, and here he is still competing at the top of the game.
Here in a state-of-the-art stadium. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime.
Rob Walker, our master of ceremonies, completing his business, and we're ready to get down to the serious business on the table. It's Junhui against Zhu Se for a place in the last 16 of the World Grand Prix.
Junhui to break.
First to 4 frames to go through. And the winner to play the Si Jiahui or Hossein Vafai. They're in action later. Here on table one, we'll be bringing you that match, but very much looking forward to this one, Neal. And Zhu Se is a player who's made huge strides in the last couple of seasons.
Yes, he's a much improved player. And of course, he got here by virtue of the event he eventually lost in to Junhui earlier on in the season, which was the International. Ding went on to win it, but that's where Zhu Se picked up the bulk of the points, which is the reason he's playing here, because his actual ranking of 40 over the 2 years, he's improved upon somewhat on the 1 year list. So, it does give all of these players a chance to springboard up the rankings by a good run in this event. But it's hard against Junhui for any other player, of course, anywhere in the world they're from. But certainly the Chinese players who look up to Junhui, there's always been a little bit of a different kind of a challenge playing him.
So you qualified for this event courtesy of making it into 25th place on the 1 year list. And it was a terrific run to the semi-finals in Nanjing. He beat Judd Trump along the way 6-4, Gary Wilson in a deciding frame.
Yeah, I mean, he's like so many of the Chinese players based in the UK, but the Xi'an Grand Prix and that international we're speaking about were his 2 best performances. Although he did lose to the man he's playing today 5-0 when they played in Wuhan. So, yeah, mixed season, but yeah, very hard, isn't it, to consistently get results given how high the standard is at the top level.
He's a former world under-21 champion. Beat Alex Ersenbacher of Switzerland in that final from 5-3 behind to win 6-5. That was back in 2016. Earned him a 2-year card. He was named the Rookie of the Year. Was then relegated, but got straight back on via Q School.
Strangely, the match I remember most of his earlier career was when, you remember the World Championships where in round 1 the great Stephen Hendry was drawn against the great Jimmy White, and that was a match which Stephen Hendry won at the start of his comeback. And then in the next round, people thought, well, Zhu Ce would be possibly the man, but unfortunately for him, Zhu Ce played brilliantly in that match, and that was the end of Hendry's campaign. You know, he just completely dominated the exchanges in that game.
And there was a lot riding on it for Zhu because he needed the victory to secure his tour position.
Played a good shot there, wasn't he? I mean, I know that the reds are split, but getting the cue ball underneath the black cushion for that shot is certainly what you're looking for. It makes it hard for Ding Junhui to do the same. He's not quite tight, but it's so difficult to get any backspin from where he is. It's like being in the sort of deep rough at golf, isn't it? What can you do? You can't hit, you know, the bottom of the ball very easily.
Ding has reached the final of this tournament. Back in 2018, he lost to O'Sullivan in the title match when it was staged at the Guildhall in Preston.
I suppose he did quite well there, Ding, to find a shot where he doesn't leave anything on, which appears to be the case. Well, again, Ding Junhui looking for elevation. He's done quite well, but he has left a possible red to middle. It's one of these tables where when the chance comes, it's usually an absolutely golden one. Given the reds are normally smack in the middle of the table. It's always a different sort of dynamic when a frame is played out in this way, with all the safety shots at the opposite end to which they're usually played. So, if you like, Zhu Ce has blinked first in that he's given this chance. He went for a ball with so much value attached, but so much risk attached as well. And look, I mean, no one's potted a ball yet in this match, but this is such a great chance. He'll try and get on the blue, I would think, because the blue on his own spot is just where he wants it, with a view to scoring heavily from this visit. So blue on its spot. Plenty of reds in the middle of the table. It's a wonderful chance that Ding has inherited here. Not through necessarily fantastic safety, but from the miss from his opponent.
He hadn't done a lot before the International Championship this season, Ding. He was actually down in the 90s on the one-year list. But it was a return to something approaching his very best game.
6.
And the icing on the cake for Ding was the fact that his wife and his children were there in the flesh to watch him lift the trophy.
Seven.
Yes, and that's a big event, isn't it, the International? It was always the event which was the Chinese equivalent of the UK Championship as far as prize money, distance of matches, prestige. Of course, some events in Saudi might have overtaken it now in that regard, but as far as Chinese events, it's still considered a very big one.
And it took care of his season, certainly in terms of these Players' Series events. He's 8th on the one-year list, so is set to be in both the Players and the Tour Championships to follow this tournament. The top 16 and the top 12 this season, respectively. More important for Ding at this stage of his career was confirmation in his own mind that he still had what's necessary to win a big tournament, to cross the line when the prize is at stake, which he hadn't done since he won his third UK title in 2019.
Six.
Tables look to be running beautifully here. Just stroke that shot. Yeah, I know he's not right behind the blue, but sometimes, you know, you can get yourself into a little bit of a dilemma when the balls are so well placed. You don't know quite where to start. It sounds an odd thing to say, but I don't really think he wanted to be down on this red. He'd like to be down at the black end of the table, because at the moment he's scoring in quite low numbers with the colours he's taking, which means he's not pulling away in the frame.
That's it.
That's pretty well played. So now I think he'll try and get himself onto a colour to head down this end of the table for his next red.
34.
Of which a few go to corner pockets, it has to be said. Well, that's not bad. A little bit high on the black. It's not the usual sort of break from Ding, actually. He's not really been very much at this end of the table, where he's an absolute master at the black end. Got beautiful touches. And it's been the kind of break where he You know, spent a lot of time in bulk playing reds along cushions and the brown. And the frame still live, but I don't know for how much longer.
Seven.
Choice of reds here. I wondered if we would look at the red below the pink, which I think would be potable, but I suppose he doesn't really have to play that one. 75 still on, although that's likely to change after this shot for his opponent.
Thank you. 55.
We'll need this colour and a further red to get to the snooker's required stage.
Well, this has been no-nonsense stuff from Ding. Kesseler took on the red to the left centre pocket with the red spread, didn't get it, and this is the result. And Ding has never really looked in trouble. He could do with this in as well, 59 left. But he's queuing very sweetly right from the get-go today.
17.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that business with the long safety bout that we saw. Usually it ends with one chance required when the reds go like that, and a mistake was made and Ding has mopped it up from there with some low-value colours along the way. So should he make a total clearance, it won't be the highest by any means, but it's one in the frame. That's all that really counts.
78.
No century for Ding Junhui, but that's a very impressive start from him. His usual fluency in amongst the reds after Kesseler missed one early in the frame, and Ding leads with a 78, 1-0. A break of 78 from Ding Junhui to take the opening frame against Kesseler.
Just at the break.
The winner to play either Si Jiahui or Hossein Vafai in the round of 16, which takes place tomorrow. And among the highlights on Thursday, a blockbuster clash between the good friends Judd Trump, world #1, and Jack Lazowski, who needs to make the semi-finals in order to get himself into the Players' Championship.
Well, it was quite a long way off, that red. It's not so much that this is a difficult pot, but it's not actually that easy to control the cue ball here. Fast bed of the cloth. The red pots, he's coming across to the left of the table via the right cushion. And he's done well there, he's played it gently. Good shot. Very good, in fact.
Six.
It's not a particularly good shot, that, is it? Because, you know, if he's going to play the black, he's over the red. And the pink to middle, he's not as straight as he'd hope. So that was not well played, that last shot. Might be able to recover it. Reasonable. Still on one red, but the bunch probably going to be where this frame is potentially won and lost in this break.
He's already made 24 centuries this season, which compares with 7 in the whole of the last campaign, including 2 maximum breaks during this season. At the International Championship on his way to the semis, and also the Welsh.
Thank you. 13.
He knew that was in from the moment he struck it. He was on the walk, but in a positive fashion. Sometimes you'll see players walking when they know things have gone wrong, but he struck that in a very true fashion.
He's got to worry here, isn't he? He's going to go into these, but you've always got the suspicion of red will drop in somewhere on this shot. Well, no red has dropped in, but I mean, he could hardly have finished. Goodness me, I think he might be snookered. Well, he might be able to get to the left edge of that one red, but I mean, of all the outcomes, to finish behind the pink on most of the reds did not seem an option. Although it wasn't the best split, really. He kind of, the cue ball veered off to the side, so he never got them square on.
Barry Hawkins did take that opening frame. We saw that Tom Ford needed a snooker. He couldn't get it, so Hawkins 1-0. That match continuing on Discovery Plus.
Yeah, just a thin edge to the left side of that red. It's not a particularly good shot to let that red go down the other end. I know he's not left it easy, but that red should surely have stayed at this end, below the blue anyway. Don't really think that best of 7 frame matches us to Ding Junhui's suiting. You know, all of the home nations, of which he doesn't always play in them all now, he's never done very much in those, and I just get the feeling that he likes a match to bed into, a longer match than this, where he can. Seems to me that Ding's best chance of winning something now will be an Asian event, because he has won the Masters, he's won the UK 3 times. So I'm not ruling out the chances, but you know, the fact that he won the International, and he actually won the 6 Reds, didn't he, before that, a couple of seasons back, which I know is a strange one. But certain events he seems to be more focused on than others.
Second frame running. Sir as Mr. Red to that left centre. It cost him the opening frame. What's the damage going to be this time?
Well, I would think considerable. You'd certainly be fearing the worst here, wouldn't you, if you, Sir, having missed that. This is a wonderful chance again.
Thank you. 1. 6.
Ding Junhui ninth in the all-time list of ranking event winners with 15.
Seven.
Well, this is how he likes them. I don't think Ding Junhui's long game is as good as it was. It's never been his strongest suit, but you know, when he's in amongst them, I'm close. He's a beautiful player. So if you keep leaving him in, and that's been really how the first 2 frames have gone, fear the worst.
Closing in on 700 career century breaks as well, Ding. Be only the 8th player to achieve that many. 690 as things stand.
Now, is he going to try and push the cue ball into the little cluster of reds in the centre of the table? I suspect that's what he's aiming for here. Yeah. Didn't get a very good contact himself, so there's a red 2 right middle, which is tricky, to say the least.
18.
If Zhu Ce only gets hit with 18 points, he'll feel like he's been let off. This is tough. It's an absolute gem, isn't it? And Ding is such a good player to the middle pockets. That was not an easy shot. Brilliantly played.
The crowd appreciating the difficulty of that shot, and it was brilliantly cued. And could well be a frame winner, given the state of the reds. Just for a moment there, Zhu Ce thought he might have won a reprieve, not to be.
$27.
I played around with running side off 2 cushions there. Right hand side, just swept the cue ball around the angles, lovely there. And after recovering the situation with the red to middle, you know, it would be a surprise if something happened soon in the way of breaking down, because with Ding, as we've said, his cue ball control is immaculate. There's lots of different ways to play this game, but he plays it where he gets behind the next ball so well that he seems to play a series of easy shots in succession. I mean, that's the beauty of positional excellence. Whereas other players, I mean, even Judd Trump, you know, he fairly adventurous breaks, sometimes loses the cue ball, pots his way back into position. Has he got that shot again around 2 cushions? I think he probably wanted to be on the pink there, in fact. So, not playing it quite in the same way this time. But again, lovely position on the red. 31 the lead.
50.
So he'll need 3 more reds here to secure the frame. Well, there you are. He leapt up in the air and it's gone astray. The wheel's fallen off. He's missed one, and an easy one. He looks absolutely horrified.
That didn't seem likely the way he was cueing, did it? After executing that brilliant red into the opposite centre. That one was a good deal more straightforward, so Zhu Ce does win a reprieve. Still 31 behind, but 67 available.
Well, the first red that he's faced with here up into the green pocket, you know, it's not simple, and he might have hoped for something a little easier than this. There was a lot resting on that shot. It was a route back into the frame.
Anytime a player stays down on a shot like that, you know that there's some doubt in their own mind as to whether it's going to drop. So Ding's misread. Not consequential, it would seem. Slightly inconvenienced by a ball under his body as he cues this.
It's one of those shots that Ding played there. The harder you hit that with topspin, the less likely you'll get the cue ball out of baulk. But he played it at the perfect speed, so the topspin did not trap the cue ball down there. So yeah, the mistake of the red to middle, where he's playing right behind the pink, it seemed unlikely he'd miss it, will mean nothing if he can convert it to a 2-0 lead here.
Well cued again. He's going to need another red to make this frame safe.
Yes, he can get on the right-hand red here of the two through the little gap. Nicely done. So, as you say, the blemish
11.
earlier in the frame, the mistake, probably not going to mean a thing. Needs a colour.
12.
And it'll be 2-0 to the greatest player ever to come out of China. And very popular here in Hong Kong as well.
That was demonstrated by the roar that he got when he was introduced by MC Rob Walker. Just as impressive as what he's won in the game is the way in which he's been such a great ambassador for the game, and of course has been instrumental in the rise of the game in China, the strength and depth that we now see with 9 players from China involved in this tournament for the best 32 this season. So much of it's down to this man.
23.
Every time he plays, he's expected to win. Of course, that brings extra pressures, but he's handled it so well. And he's cueing, bar that one aberration on the red just now, quite beautifully at the start of this match.
30.
Slight wardrobe malfunction, perhaps, with his sponsorship label. That's about the only thing that has gone wrong for Ding Junhui so far. 2 excellent frames from him. And Xu already under extreme pressure. Ding looking in the mood as he moves to within 2 frames of a place in the last 16 of the World Grand Prix. He leads 2-0.
Frame 3. Ding Junhui to break.
Ding Junhui breaking off in frame 3, looking to go 3 up with 4 to play. He did miss a red to that left centre, which gave Xu a sniff at getting back into it, but then he missed from distance into the green pocket, and that was the end of the frame for him. Breaks of 78 and 50 from Ding to lead 2-0. But that's a terrific pot from Xu, who moved to Ding Junhui's academy in Sheffield a few seasons back. And that's what he's capable of. Doesn't get much better than that from long range, from under the baulk rail.
Oh, very good shot, wasn't it? And now he must take advantage of it. That'll do. Nice little nudge.
Eight.
He's a very correct player, I think, would be how I would describe him. Quite measured in his style, but you know, technically very sound. Can't help but look at players' technique and their sort of way around the table. And I think he's got most things, not necessarily got big results to his name yet. There's a couple of World Semi-Finals, Indian Open and International Championship 7 years apart. I think the Indian Open was probably at the point where no one really knew a great deal about him as a player.
Lost John Higgins in that semi-final, who went on to win that particular tournament.
Well, he has to get an angle on his next colour, or else there's nothing to follow this black that he's going to get behind, no doubt. Yes, he's finished low, so now he can at least attack the bunch from here. What a miss. What a miss that is. Yes, he's forcing it, and you can miss those, but, you know, his mind was on some other things but the pot, really, you know, looking at the pack of reds being opened, none of which matters when the pot stays out.
Good news for Sue was that he didn't leave a red in splitting the bunch and going into them and missing the black as he did. Otherwise, it could have been fatal in this frame as well.
I know, and of course, that's your biggest fear, isn't it? You miss the pot, go into the bunch and leave the frame. But as you say, he seemed to be a little fortunate in that department. Still won't feel great about missing the black off the spot.
That's one way to atone. Another excellent long red, which he started the frame off with.
I think there was an element of the cue ball hiding in behind the black, which kind of takes the pressure off the pot somewhat. And that was quite a good shot here to drop into the black ball, get the snooker. He's going to want to hope that Ding leaves a chance. I don't know if he can get behind the two reds on the right without leaving something to left middle. Trying to glance off the two reds. That's beautifully played. That's such a clever shot from Ding. I think he saw the two reds in such a shape that you could hit top side of them and send the cue ball away. Very clever. He's going to roll the dice here, take this on. Hope the cue ball will head away from the reds if he doesn't pot it. That's very good. That's actually put Zhu Se in a spot of bother, I think. There's no obvious route back to vault here. Plenty of obstacles in his way. On the way back up the table, I should say. Rather than necessarily hitting something on the way down, but hard to put distance between cue ball and various object balls here. You're now looking at a possible containing safety shot, which is just a cue ball somewhere at this end of the table, perhaps. Just wants to avoid the double kiss if he's playing that. Pushing the red back up. Which he just about has. Lovely shot from Ding. I mean, it's a lovely touch once again because he's doing no damage, hiding the cue ball, but also getting on the brown. So it's 2 in 1. Well, for some reason, he finished in between. Is there a red that goes through the bunch here? I think that red he's looking at, he had no idea that it might go. But even then, I don't think he feels it actually does pass the other red very easily. If he cuts the red, the top red to right middle, the cue ball has got to find a way out of that area. Quite honestly, it doesn't look very easy not to hit another red on the way through. The pot's not simple either.
Good pot, but positionally far from A1. And that was the problem with losing position. You're then chasing it a bit. He'll be disappointed given how brilliant the opening red was. Not to make more from that, but Ding has still only missed 1 ball in this match and it didn't prove significant. So Si Jiahui, I beg your pardon, Zhu Se. Si Jiahui's coming up later against Hossein Fafai. Zhu Se under a lot of pressure. You're never out of a best of 7. That's the beauty of this format, even at 3-0 behind. There's always hope, but against Ding playing as he is, a 3-0 deficit would be, you would think, too much for Zhu Se. So this frame is very important to him.
Not sure about that shot. Obviously, it wasn't as planned, first thing to say. He had a bit of right-hand side on the cue ball. It checked off the left cushion and didn't end up behind the black. It, as you saw, careered into it. But he's not left an easy red. Again, it's another thin cut that Ding has knocked a few of these in. It might be the cue was heading down in the region of the black if this goes in, up and down. And he's played it gently to To hold for a lower value colour than the black's even better. Again, a real example of his touch there, just to drop that in and hold the cue ball. It was quite a thin contact on the red. Played on the bottom red this time, which would unlock the others that are somewhat tied up, as we saw from that previous visit. It's a wonderful opportunity, this, and he's kind of been quite patient. Kesseler has been unable to contain him for long periods. So now a brilliant opportunity to extend his lead.
14.
Well, he seemed to play that with a bit of check side. He'd be very annoyed. And those are the kind of shots that really infuriate Junhui, where it's not so much when he misses a ball, it's the when the cue ball for once does go astray. I think he finds it hard to comprehend. He's such a good touch player. The frame is a long way from being over now. It was a chance to get it won.
Still trying to digest the disappointment of losing position when things were looking good for 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's considering the two-ball plant and taking the cue ball away. It's a really difficult shot. I think the red up the table by the brown is the one that's probably the most likely, yeah, and he's now come round to it. But it's a question of playing safe, putting the cue ball in behind yellow and green. He'll be annoyed, but I think he had to take his medicine there and just play the percentage call. It won't make him feel any better, but he might be lining up another chance. I wonder if Kesseler will take this red on, because any safety shot looks difficult, and there's a kind of an unwritten rule in snooker. If you've got a safety shot on the pot and they're both of equal difficulty, you might as well try to chance your arm at the pot, because of course if it goes in, then it doesn't matter about the safety shot. I think he's got to go for this. He's probably got to get it, but yeah, he's sizing it up to knock this in, and it's the biggest shot of the match so far.
Crikey.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, that will not make him feel any good because he's missed it by a yard.
Having knocked in a couple of great reds earlier in this frame, that one wasn't in the same postcode. Partly due, I'm sure, to the pressure that Ding has been able to apply by dominating this match to date. And that's another excellent pot to the centre pocket from Ding. We've seen a few of those.
See, this is the psychology of snooker, right? And now, obviously, Ding is in again for possibly a frame-winning chance at the third attempt. Although that's gone wrong. He's fuming. I was just thinking, though, that had he won the frame there, Zhu Ce, all he's got to think about for the next few minutes is how badly he hit that long red.
Oh.
But Ding is, I mean, he's a pretty happy-go-lucky, jovial type, isn't he? When you meet Ding, he's always happy, always smiling. At the moment, he's enraged that he's missed this chance as well. Probably going behind the yellow here with the cue ball, which is all well and good, but he'd be hopping mad not to have won the frame there.
Oh dear, a kiss was the last thing he needed, and here's another chance for Ding to secure the 3-0 lead, which has looked likely for a lot of this frame.
It was a strange shot, wasn't it? It was like, it wasn't quite the hit and hope shot. It was a half-paced sort of speculative shot, really. He didn't know a lot about it. But can you believe Ding has done that? Surprised he played to move that red. It's been an odd frame because chances have fallen into Ding's laps, but unfortunately for him, he's 9 in front only here.
Oh, don't go in off. Don't go in off. Oh. You couldn't make this up, really.
Well, that won't cheer him up. Although, you know, oddly, it's still leaving a problem for Zhu Ce. He's got to knock this red in. I mean, if you're a billiard player, you'd be absolutely proud of this in off, wouldn't you? And he obviously tried to get into that corner. Knew the enough might happen, but this pot, the kind of shot that young players from all around the world will practice a lot. But now is when you've got to knock them in on the match table.
Having missed one from distance just now by the proverbial country mile.
Yeah, exactly. And that would definitely have been playing on his mind. Unfortunately, snooker is play between the ears, a lot of it, and he missed that ball. As far as the last one, it was X-rated, wasn't it? He wouldn't want to see it back again. And he's left with that shot, which he kind of played it a little tentatively, I thought.
Certainly a curious frame, given the number of chances Ding has had to kill it off, but each time he's somehow lost position, and you can see the frustration in him at that, even though he's in a strong position in the match. So this frame takes on ever greater proportions in terms of its significance in this match, because if Zhu Ce could somehow scramble it, then things are looking a bit different at 2-1.
So now you feel that this frame surely Kesseler must win now, because we see the pattern so often in snooker. You miss 4 or 5 chances, leave your opponent 1 chance, and they take advantage. And that was a little snatchy, that long shot there from Junhui. So the red behind the green is probably key as to whether Kesseler does get the frame one, but he'll need to. He's been to look, and I suspect there's not a lot of leeway here. He's got to get the cue ball in exactly the right spot to take the red on next to the green. The key to this frame as it stands. Well, it appears the cue ball's gone where he was hoping it would. Obviously, I don't think he can avoid hitting the green, so that's another thing to take into account. A little brush off the green ball.
Six.
It's not great. You wanted to be right behind the brown, keeping it simple. Now, the brown takes him away from the red. I don't know if the yellow, if he pots it, will respot. I think the red is mostly covering it, which means the yellow goes on the black spot, which he does not need, because that just adds further complications to the clearance. It could be that he's going to have to play the yellow, but as I say, further down the line, it just means the colours clearance is more awkward. Question is, does it respot though? There's even more of a concern if it does. No. Maike Kesseler says no. It's a difficult game, isn't it, anyway, this, but when things like that happen and the yellow's the other end of the table from where it should be spotted, it just adds to the stress of it all when you're trying to clear. Didn't look comfortable, did he, at any point there?
Just say 8.
An eventful frame for sure, but its destination still in doubt. Ding back at the table. That was a clear chance, though, for Kesseler to get on the board. 5 points in it, 35 left. Well, happily for Kesseler, the red has run safe.
Yeah, that's one consolation, although with ball in hand, you would hope, from Ding's point of view, as we see the in-off again, that he's probably going to be able to put that cue ball in a difficult spot here, maybe behind the black or even the yellow. And he's taken the red down that in, but it amounts to virtually the same thing. So very much advantage Ding. We know it's been an odd frame, but he's still holding the edge, I think. Well, this is very close, isn't it? I suppose if you're Kesseler, you're probably thinking, well, you know what, I probably deserve a little break there, a little nudge, rub of the green, whatever you want to call it, because he's kind of been up against it for 2.5 frames, and he got one there.
And Ding has had a lot of chances in this frame, but each time has contrived to lose position. So maybe the balls are going to punish him in that regard. More to the point, Xu Ce has the chance to punish him by mopping these colours up to get some traction in this match. It was a must-win frame, realistically, for him. Looked as though he'd missed the chance just now, but this is another good one.
Played that well, and that was a good shot, because that's the one possibility. Could have been over the top of the brown ball on that shot. I think he's nonplussed. I mean, he's probably looking back at 4 different things in this frame that have cost him, mostly errors on his own part.
He's the blue as well, to be sure.
That was almost the Jamie Burdett in off to middle, wasn't it, against Terry Griffiths in the World Championships, which was a complete aberration from him. He might be old enough to remember that shot. Cost him the match, but not so, didn't go in.
Not a frame of high quality by any means, but a vital one for Xu Ce. He desperately needed it. He's had a fair bit of help in winning it from Ding Junhui, who played 2 excellent frames and looked likely to win the 3rd, but he couldn't take his chances, kept running out of position in the end, albeit that Xu Ce did benefit from the fluke, which he once again apologises for. He has got the 3rd frame, and we have a match. Ding leads 2-1. The fans enjoying the snooker on this 2nd day of the World Grand Prix. By the end of it, we'll be down to 16 players. Ding Junhui has been pegged back, and he'll be, I think, both angered and mystified as to how he failed to win frame 3, given the chances he had to do so. But Xu Ce, helped by a fluke, has managed to win his 1st frame, a crucial one for his chances of turning this around. So 2-1, first to 4 to go through. The winner to play either Si Jiahui or Hossein Vafai, who are in action later here on table 1, as are Mark Allen and Jimmy Robertson on table 2. Barry Hawkins now 3-0 up on Tom Ford, having taken the 3rd frame on the final black. Sean Murphy awaits the winner of that one.
All out there, wasn't he? And it's hard to think how he could have thought that was a shot to nothing in any capacity. He's left a great chance. The only thing really right now to think about is when, if he plays on the black, does the black then become potable? Because I think the red is somewhere near the black spot, the red directly above the black. He might have to just move it ever so slightly if he doesn't think the red will pot and the black's now tied up. Now, you can't sort of get a ball out and measure the spot or anything. That would be considered a 7-point penalty. You've just got to work it out for yourself, really. Now, I think he tried to move the red, but either way, he's going to find out his fate.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, looking a little disappointed as he sees the cue ball head towards the side cushion.
He's got to play it, hasn't he? And I think he can get to it. Although Maike Kesseler is hovering just to see if there's any contact with the red, or a simultaneous contact between red and black here would be a foul. you know, simultaneous. Very hard to define that when you see it or locate it. Well, it wasn't simultaneous. It was just a bad shot.
I think he was very mindful of that, actually. The danger of the possible foul there. He looked very uncomfortable on the shot. So here's a chance for Ding to get rid of the disappointment of the last frame, which he'll certainly feel he should have won.
I mean, it was a difficult shot, the black, don't get me wrong, but he played it with, as you say, an awful lot of fear, it seemed to me, and there was no threat ever of the black going in.
Six. Seven.
So Ding, another chance, and let's be honest, he's played well in the first two frames, but the last frame he had so many leaves, which he didn't do anything with. That's not cheering him up too much, is it? I tell you, he's laughing this time, but he's chuntering away. I've not seen him quite so animated as this. During the last frame, he was incandescent with rage at a few shots that have not gone his way. And again, going into the bunch this time, perhaps a bit unlucky, but they weren't all bad luck in the previous.
Junhui, 12.
So difficult to stop that cue ball heading into bulk on that shot. Once the pot goes in, he'd like to be this side of the bulk line, but now second prize is the snooker. I wonder if Ding has got an escape here to land up to those couple of reds on the left cushion, down by the left corner. I think he might be able to. He's done pretty well there, hasn't he? Because that was quite a delicate touch and a lot of accuracy to lay up to the reds, because they were quite loosely scattered, but he's done it. Really good shot. He's just got to force this to get the cue ball away from the cushion, out for a red. And of course, the harder you hit these, then there's always bringing in the possibility you'll rattle the black in the pocket and it won't go in.
And sure enough,
One.
a very disappointing end to that visit for Sousa. It was a really good chance, having potted such a good red. Just gained a foothold in the match by winning a frame he should have lost, really. And now Ding's missed, and I think Ding is now allowing some of these frustrations since he took a 2-0 lead to affect him. Look at the reds now. They're everywhere. What a chance this is for the underdog.
One. Seven.
Well, the body language of these two, you might think, if you couldn't see the scoreboard, that Sousa was in front now, because Ding looks completely crestfallen sitting there. He's 2-1 up and not necessarily guaranteed to be brought to level, but he looks thoroughly fed up.
Eleven.
Tom Ford has just pulled a frame back, so has kept his hopes alive. Ford currently in 17th spot in terms of the provisional World Championship seeding, so just outside a place at the Crucible guaranteed. Ali Carter occupying that 16th and final spot. Carter, of course, is out, having been beaten by John Higgins. So if Ford does lose to Barry Hawkins on table 2 this evening, then he'll be heading to Crucible qualifying next.
Eighteen. Wonderful. Five.
So the lead is growing, 29 points.
30.
Those couple of reds on the left are probably not a big problem if he can get on the red on the right following this one. High value colours with both. Although 2 red pinks means there are 43 in it. So maybe there is a bit of life left in the frame, whatever happens from here. Because I don't think he's going to play on the black from that right-hand red. So not quite over the line.
Seven.
So this is the one problem. He's 37 in front.
38.
So he can only go 43 in front with that many on. So he will need somehow to pot the bottom red of the two. If there's any place in that corner of the table it can be potted, that will be very grateful to Sir for that, because he hasn't quite won it yet. I mean, the problem Ding has got here, of course, is that he's got to pot two reds and blacks as well. So, you know, with the black safe, that will cause different problems for him. Well, he may just roll the dice here and play that left-hand red to try and land behind the black. And then possibilities of clearing up are there. But this is a really difficult shot.
That's very well cued. So Ding Junhui has got to pot this black, and then a further black with the final red and all the colours to force a re-spotted black. This has got to go.
Well, he needs to get some pace on the cue. Well, it's a bit like a 1-4-7 chance, isn't it? You've got to get the angle on the reds this time.
8.
I mean, he can't afford to plan anything but the black, so unless he can play a thin cut back on the black, he's surely going to have to go all around the angles here. And he'll be able to do it, but he's not blessed with lots of cue power. And that's where you lose your action if you're Ding Junhui. Has he flipped the snooker? I mean, it's an extraordinary game sometimes, isn't it? That's probably worked out in his favour. Had the red gone in, he wouldn't have been on the black anyway.
So Ding in the same predicament. He needs a black with that final red and all the colours to force the extra black. Looks like he's snookered. You can just feel in Ding the frustrations, because how he didn't win the third frame is incredible, really, given the number of chances he had. But each time he got back in, he immediately ran out of position. Eventually it came back to bite him. He had a chance in this frame, of course, after Kesseler had missed the black, missed the red into the opposite corner. And that is the end of the frame. Not for the first time, a nicely stroked long red from Kesseler into that pocket. So, what a turnaround in this match. It was all Ding for 2.5 frames, really. Should have been 3-0. And you couldn't realistically see a way back from there for Kesseler. Now, he's very much in contention.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, in a best of 3 from here, which is what it is, of course, anyone at this level can beat anyone else. So, as you say, it felt as if Ding was going to win this match comfortably. But you really wouldn't be so sure now. He might raise his game, but he's been sort of at odds with himself a little bit, I felt, a few times.
He's lost to Ding twice this season, as Neal mentioned, that whitewash in Wuhan, and then the 9-6 loss in the semi-finals of the International Championship, which of course Ding went on to win. But he's got designs on victory today now, which seemed highly unlikely half an hour or so ago. But from 2-0 behind, and what should have been 3-0 behind, they're now level, 2 each. This is now a best of 3 frame match from here. Ding Junhui looked likely to win with something to spare when he led 2-0 and had multiple opportunities to make it 3-0. He couldn't take them, and you could feel the frustration mounting in him, and now he finds himself with no lead at all at 2 each. Interesting little idiosyncrasy Ding has in more recent times. Just before he strikes the ball, he actually looks completely away from the table. Never mind not down the line of the shot. I've seen him do it a lot.
I've seen that, and I don't understand that at all. I can't think what else he can be looking at, because you're told to take your eyes, you know, especially if you're not going for a pot, you know, from cue ball to object ball, back and forward, but not sort of across at something else away from the table. Is bizarre. But anyway, it's 2-all. Ding is not amused, it's safe to say. Can he convert that into positive energy? Because at the moment, you know, he's not managing quite to do that.
Tom Ford won't be amused either. He's bowing out here, and that's the end of the tournament for Ford. And indeed, we won't see him again now until World Championship qualifying. Barry Hawkins coming through with a big break to seal a 4-1 victory. Ford currently provisionally 17th on that seeding list for the Crucible. And of course, you've got to be inside the top 16. He's not high enough in the one-year list to play at the Players or the Tour Championship, so he's going to have to qualify. He might not be alone in that regard in terms of the big hitters, of course, with 1 or 2 other big names still to confirm, not least Neal Robertson and Sean Murphy, who Barry Hawkins will now play for a place in the quarterfinals here. Robertson, of course, a comfortable winner earlier today against Yuan Sijun, so more valuable points in the bag for him. But Hawkins looking very good. He's been super consistent all season, Hawkins. And I'm sure he'll be eyeing a tilt at the big one in the spring as well. Former finalist, of course, at the Crucible. Tom Ford offers his hand. Barry Hawkins through impressively by 4 frames to 1. And next up on table 2, it'll be Mark Allen against Jimmy Robertson. The winner of that to play Mark Selby, who dug deep as only he can earlier today to get the job done against Jackson Page.
Good cue ball and the tempting red to the right corner, but if he pots it here, I don't know where the cue ball is going to go. It looks like it's staying in the middle of the table to me without coming out onto a colour, so maybe there's no value in the pot. Yeah, a little bit fortunate, but he somehow got the cue ball back down.
Ding didn't get much work in the cue ball there in attempting that plant. And again, that was a shot that smacked of a player who's perhaps just lost his focus. We saw those frustrations even when he was 2-0 up, when he failed to land on a ball when he had chances to kill off that third frame, and his mood hasn't improved since, understandably. Looks like he's gone too far for the pink. At the moment, Junhui, I beg your pardon, Kesseler looks more likely. Ding's temperament a little suspect right now, given the frustrations he must be feeling about the scoreline. But this could be end of break. Junhui, remember, plays later against Hossein Vafai on this table. Mark Allen on table 2 shortly against Jimmy Robertson.
Looks like he's trying to slip this in. It's very thin. Goodness me, that was a lot thinner than what he hit there. I have to say, as we were looking at the table, viewing it, it just felt that that was as thin a shot as you'll see. Because he had an easy safety shot. He's presented a bit of a gift to Ding Junhui just at the moment when I think he really needs one.
I think that's the point, isn't it? Ding was rocking, looking thoroughly fed up in his chair, and he's been presented with a bit of a gift here. A chance to regroup, get himself back in the kind of place that he was in the first 2 frames when he looked very good. Made 78 and 50, only missed 1 ball, which proved not to be significant.
8. Nine.
No worries for Ding, of course, in terms of Crucible seedings, or indeed
14.
the remaining Players Series events. He's ranked at 8 on the 1-year list, and now 9 on the provisional list for the World Championship. Of course, he was bumped down into 9th place on the official rankings by John Higgins' triumph at the World Open last week.
15.
Higgins back in the top 8, along with his fellow class of 92 greats O'Sullivan and Williams.
Good red to get on this one, because of course it completely frees up. Not so much to the other pocket, but it means he's got more access to the black into the pocket he's taking the red into. At the moment it's sort of blocking off the route to the black. He keeps saying it, but he's a masterful player in amongst them. It's almost like a billiards player, these so-called top of the table billiards. The thing at this end of the table is where it's all at, really. Scoring prowess. The touches and the cannons like that one are made to look very easy, but that's the art of playing in the sort of way he does. Yes, he's shown frustration today, but he does all this particularly well. There's a little scratch of the head there. Again, he might feel that he wanted the cubal of fraction further across the table than it is. But he looks okay, all things considered.
The shifts of momentum can be pretty violent in these best of 7s, and just a few moments ago, Kesseler was looking the more likely, but he took on a black which was very difficult. and presented this opportunity to Ding to restore his own equilibrium after losing frames 3 and 4. And it would be a major surprise, given Ding's expertise in situations like this, if he didn't go on now to retake the lead.
$52. $53. $60.
Yes, to in fact retake the lead. He's almost with us because he just needs that's black and a further red. There'll be 67 in it when this is potted, so mathematically Zhu Sur could retire the frame, but I'm sure that opportunity is not going to be granted him at all.
68.
Ding attempted a plant at the beginning of this frame, which didn't get close, and the cue ball wasn't anywhere close to the balk end, but Zhu Sur, having knocked in a red, left himself not on the pink, opted to take the black, which I'm sure now, and hindsight's a great thing, of course, he wished he hadn't, because it's allowed Ding to re-establish the rhythm he showed in the first 2 frames, and in the process get within 1 of victory.
Tell you what, it's not that long ago that thin cut that you just mentioned happened. This break has been fairly rapidly made, isn't it, by Ding?
83.
You're not hanging around here. Maybe some of the frustration of the earlier frames has just made him get on with it a little more. He's never been a slow player, of course, but just, you know, the speed in which he's taken these, almost some annoyance in the way he's striding around the table.
91.
Closing in on his 28th century of the season.
92.
And it's almost as though frames 3 and 4 didn't happen now for Ding. Right back in the groove again.
99.
And if this black goes in, he'll be within 9 centuries of 700 for his career.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's the most difficult thing about snooker is putting the disappointments of what's gone before behind you out of your mind, and he's managed it here. It's just a very welcome break, that, a century, just when he needed one.
Zhu Sur took on a tricky black and has paid a heavy price, because Ding Junhui has sprung back into life here in Hong Kong and now leads by 3 frames to 2.
Thank you. Frame 6. Just had to break.
Zhu Sur breaking off in frame 6, looking to force a decider. He was beginning to look the more likely of the 2 players when he levelled at 2 all, got in early in the 5th, but took on a very difficult pot, and his failure to get it led to Ding Junhui returning to his best fluency with a century break to lead 3-2, 1 away from a place in the last 16 and a meeting with either Si Jiahui or Hossein Vafai. A long way off with that one, but he's got the cue ball safe enough.
well, still the possibility of this match going all the way, although you do feel that Ding has, you know, he's done all the snooker playing, really. I know he had that bad spell, but Zhu Se has not played as well as he can. I suppose it's one of those, if it got to a decider, then he could steal it. But really, you feel that Ding has been the superior player.
Meanwhile, Mark Allen and Jimmy Robertson preparing to walk out into the arena for their round of 32 match. Table 2, you can watch it on Discovery Plus. Mark Allen's a former winner of the tournament, of course. He beat Judd Trump in the decider in Cheltenham 2 years ago. Well, everything that could go wrong has done there for Zhu Se, not just missing the red, but leaving a relatively straightforward starter for Ding in his bid to close this out without need of a deciding frame.
Yeah, I mean, he did try and steer the cue ball back up the table, but of course you lose control of the red, especially when you don't get close enough to even hit the jaws. Sometimes it would stay at this end of the table, the red, but it didn't. So, chance to sort of put those sticky moments behind him here, Ding, although as he overhit again there.
6.
Well, don't know if he can get to the bottom red, but he doesn't look overjoyed about where the balls are. Maybe with a trace of right-hand side, he can straighten it. It's right of centre striking to straighten the angle. Tough shot. I'll tell you, that's a lot better than it looked, because that is a beautiful little touch there. If he hit it plain ball, he couldn't see enough, but he tried to just send it round the red and make the potting angle possible.
Probably helped by the fact that he's just come off the back of a century in the previous frame to re-establish the rhythm that he lost in frames 3 and 4.
Well, not exactly the kiss he was looking for, and he looks
14.
disappointed again. He's got to actually get to this is quite difficult, actually. You've got all of those reds in the way. Yes, he's a right-hander, which means he might be able to reach it, but it's a, you know, he's not the most enjoyable position for the balls to be in. Can't touch a red with his cue, of course.
15.
Oh, the black on the cushion at pace, black spot not free. Just feel like he's swimming against the tide a little bit in this break, doesn't it? You know, trying to regain position. Well, that was nowhere near.
Junhui, 15.
Trudges back to his chair.
Zhu Se's highest break in this match, just 44. Ding has made a century, 75 plus and 50 as well. So very much on top in the scoring stakes. But there have been errors in there as well, which is keeping Zhu Se interested in his bid to turn this around and score an upset. He's only beaten Ding once before. was over this distance. WST Classic 2023 in a decider.
Well, it was pretty fortunate to get through the gap, but of course the in-off is not so lucky.
Foul. Junhui 4.
It's been a funny old performance from Zhu So. He's a good player. He just hasn't quite been able to string it together against Ding Junhui, someone no doubt that he sees as a role model. Been at Ding's academy, and you know, it's hard to beat people sometimes that you idolise, but you've got to try and do that at this game.
1.
It could be that he's played his last shot. Ding just looking to see if he can get through to the black there, but you know, it's a wonderful chance this, if he can just make it happen with the first 2 or 3 pots to get to shore up good position. Oh, goodness. Well. Yeah, he looked a little bit uncomfortable with putting the rest between the 2 reds there, but, you know, I felt he'd get it. Very much a mixed bag today from Ding Junhui, this, what we're seeing.
And although he's been heavily outscored in this match, errors like that, which have been sprinkled in Ding's performance today, must give Zhu So encouragement that if he could just raise his game a little, this match is still there to be won.
Six. Touching.
He just finished a bit in between shots, really. I wonder, is the right shot here to play the red below the black? It's a little bit more difficult, but ultimately it brings about position on the black. It takes the red away. That could be a problem. He's now lining it up. It's just a more difficult pot than the other one, but it offers a lot more in the long run.
$14.
Just awkward queuing here. Got a longer bridge than he would want.
$21. $22.
Yeah, coming out into the middle of the table here. Rest shot now needed to keep this break alive, and he really needs something substantial here. One more mistake could be his last, although we have thought that already. And of course, looking at Ding Junhui, he sort of slumped in that chair a little bit. Not exactly exuding sort of good vibes because his performance has been sketchy. And now this is an awkward little queuing shot as well, however, from his opponent. Played it well.
$37.
Ding has outscored Kesseler 2-1 in this match, even allowing for this visit, but he's also missed a few that he shouldn't have done, has lost position a few times. And it's an opportunity to force a decider.
$38. $44.
There's been a re-rack in the opening frame on table 2 in the match between Mark Allen and Jimmy Robertson, so they're just back underway again.
$45.
So this is now the highest break of the match from Kesseler. Good moment to produce it, but of course he's still got lots to do to clinch the frame, 25 in front.
Not a good shot played there. And, you know, it's one thing to hold from black to red, but to do it using the rest, you know, the cue ball could easily travel up the table. So he goes to the bottom of the cue ball. All of these things mean you can miss these on the thick potting angle if you're not careful. Well played. Cue ball close to the cushion, but I suppose he'll settle for that.
52.
But the 3 reds above the one he's about to take still have a bit of a challenge about them as how he's going to make them potted. Not sure if that top red, he could get on it perhaps. be interested to see what shot he does play here. He could play the bottom right-hand red 2 right middle. And he would want a colour to follow that. So I'm looking about 3 shots ahead, and he can secure the frame. I don't think any other shot is available. The bottom red on the right there, the middle pocket you can see. Virtually frame ball because he'd be on his next colour.
Ding Junhui had the chance early in this frame. He missed the blue. And Siu Ser has picked a very good moment to produce his most convincing break of the match.
68. 6-9.
Remember, he's made 2 maximum breaks this season, so there's nothing wrong with his scoring abilities.
76.
It's not been that sort of match for him so far. He's been second best for the lion's share of it, but he's going to be contesting a final frame.
You know, all around the angles here to get from brown to yellow. Unsuccessfully, but I don't think it matters greatly. He'd like to make the century, but it's really not the priority. The priority is to get his mind right for the decider. And it's a big frame for him. To progress in this event would mean a lot.
Siu Ser able to punish Ding Junhui's error on the blue with easily his highest break of the match, an 81, and so we're going all the way. 3 frames all.
On this time, perhaps. Anyway, very early stages over there. And not a brisk start. This is interesting, isn't it, where this has turned out?
You can watch that on Discovery Plus, but this is the deciding frame. Who's going to land the knockout blow? 3 apiece, Ding Junhui to break. The winner to play either Si Jiawei or Hossein Vafai. They're coming up next on table 1. By the end of this session, we'll be down to the last 16, which will be played in its entirety on Thursday. Still over the best of 7 frames, by the way, and then it's up to the best of 9 for the quarters, 11 for the semis, 19 for the final, and that record-breaking prize for this event of £180,000, and that's a handy result for Siu Ser, in behind the brown.
Just wonder if this is where the match changes, because really, I don't know, it feels as if he always felt that he would win this match. The way it had been going, not only on status as in the game, but now he's got the 3-3, you know, I think that all that will go out of the window, because he's missed the boat a little bit as far as putting his less experienced opponent away. And now, you know, when it comes to one frame, I think all bets are off, really. Anything could happen here.
Yes, and he's playing this final frame in the knowledge that he should probably have won the match a while ago and hasn't done so. For Siu Ser, it's a bit of a bonus to have forced this decider, given that he was completely outplayed in the first 2 frames. Ding had multiple opportunities to win the 3rd.
Yes, and I think Ding has shown a lot of annoyance in this frame and match, hasn't he? The early frames, I should say, of this match, because, you know, he's not been able to deliver the killer blow. He's let his feelings be known out there. He's got to pull himself together if the chance comes. I'm sure he will. He's capable of that. not touching ball, which would have been a big help to Kesseler here. Could have played directly away from the Reds if it was touching ball. Oh, well, he's found the new in off there. Thin off the red, quarter ball on the pink. Cue ball disappearing into the green pocket. Well, I mean, it was a dangerous shot to play. I mean, where was the position? It's hard to think he would be on anything, and now he's left a red. So, you know, the great player that he is, that was quite a poor value shot, it seemed. Seemingly, the frustrations continue.
It would be a pretty remarkable win, really, when you consider where Kesseler was in this match at 2-0 behind, with Ding having chances to make it 3-0. Prospect of Kesseler emerging the victor at that stage of the match were remote indeed, but now he's got this chance in the decider.
Five. Six.
Well, all of a sudden, the real chance has arisen, isn't it? He's always been playing catch-up in the match. 2-0 down should have been more, as we've been saying, but here is the chance to deliver the killer blow. Two reds below the black will annoy him a bit because it sort of stops the route from black to his next red from playing above the black. You know, you want to come down exactly where those two reds are in position. So that makes you think that if you get 45 or 50 here, that would be quite a valuable break, in fact. Obviously wants to clear up, but
14.
you know, sometimes you have to maybe lower your sights a little bit and take what's there.
Ding, I'm sure, thinking about what might have been earlier in the match, in particular that third frame, which had he won it, would have been hard to envisage him losing the match. But maybe it's a case of the ball's not forgiving you. It feels that way sometimes when you miss chances that you've had. And although he made the century after that to get to within one, he's now relying on his opponent to make a mistake to get back to the table.
Two. 29.
Mark Allen has ended up dominating that re-racked opening frame on table 2 with Jimmy Robertson. So the reigning Players champion, 1-0 up. The winner of that to play Mark Selby. Winner earlier today against Jackson Page from 3-2 behind.
Yeah, I don't think he played on the blue here, but obviously to get the blue back on its spot would be a big boost for further down the line in this break. It's an extra high-value colour to use in his favour. Well, he's mishit slightly, underhit, mistimed, one of those things, but
35.
he's using the rest again on this shot, and he can't afford to mistime this one because he's got to screw across the reds onto the black into the same pocket. Played it delightfully, actually.
36.
Well, he's gone too far there. That'll annoy him. Why is he not straighter on the red? Obviously not intentionally played there. But he could have dropped it in, I think, and finished comfortably straighter than he is. Now he's going into the red below it. There's no assurance that he'll be on the black either. He's got to play a little cannon and the pot. Yeah, this is the problem. You see, the pot was not a certainty, and that was a terrific chance to get the match won, which he's kind of missed the boat slightly. 40's a handy lead, but not a insurmountable one.
The near jaw by a fraction, and that was enough to keep it out. It was looking good for the pocket at one stage.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he would get it, and I thought it was in, but Ding stayed down on it. But you wouldn't very often see a ball react that way. If it is the near jaw, it usually goes past the pocket. That is how close he got to the pot itself. Now I'm sure Ding is thinking that today is not going to be his day. Because Zusa with another chance.
3. Four.
Well, what a chance this is now for Kesseler. Black available into both corner pockets. Red's out in the open already, 43 to the good. Make that 48 with the black, with the blue, I should say. So a golden chance for what would be a surprise result, particularly given the way the first half of the match went. Ding has a good record in this tournament. He's been a finalist, twice a semi-finalist, including last season. Kesseler, on the other hand, making his debut in this event. And it looks as though he's going to be celebrating
17.
a famous victory.
Yeah, 3 more pots from here he needs. He'll be playing up on, I think, the blue here. And that certainly made his task
18.
easier by getting the 2 reds opened up. And if the red passes the brown into the yellow pocket top left, where could it possibly go wrong is the question. This is what I was saying, you know, the match looked for all the world like Ding was going to win it at some point. But when you get to 3-3, it's a bit of a leveler. What's gone before means less than ever, I think. And Ding will be most annoyed that he's let this one slip. Kesseler has started to play well as the match has gone on, but not necessarily in the early stages. It's a bit of a shock result, and Ding's gone. He's conceded.
As soon as snookers were required, Ding was offering his hand, and that is indicative, I think, of how he feels about how this match has slipped away, because he looked the red-hot favourite at 2-0. Should have been 3-0, but it's Kesseler who's toppled the international champion. He's through to the last 16, 4 frames to 3. And this is the moment that sealed Ding's fate. He got so close to that red, so close that he left it, even though it caught the near jaw, as Neal explained. And that was the moment that Ding's last chance of emerging the victor, when he looked the more likely for most of the match, disappeared. So he is clearly very disappointed, understandably. Ding Junhui out in the first round. Kesseler through to play either Junhui or Hossein Vafai. They're coming up next on table 1.